Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. So we're going to be talking about Dmitry Medvedev in this video. He is the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council and also the former Russian president. So we're going to be talking about him today because he's made some statements lately talking about nuclear war, and we've been kind of on this topic a lot lately discussing this over the Ukraine war, and a lot of this is due to the United States and also many other countries, Germany, and several other European nations, giving Ukraine the right and permission to strike targets inside of Russian territory. Now we know that they can only strike targets in the Kharkiv region, and I just did a video earlier today talking about the Belgorod region coming under attack, and potentially these could have been HIMARS missiles that were fired into the Belgorod region. And if this is true, then this would be the beginning of that. Okay, the beginning of these attacks on Russian territory. And this gentleman here, Dmitry Medvedev, has been coming out a lot lately and saying that if Ukraine strikes inside of Russian territory using these long-range weapons that are supplied by NATO countries, including the United States, that this would be an act of war, and they would even move to a nuclear stance here, that they would even move towards using nuclear weapons, maybe strategic weapons, strategic nuclear weapons, definitely tactical nukes. And this just been thrown around so much, not just from Dmitry Medvedev, but also the president, Vladimir Putin. He's come out and said the same exact thing. So I personally believe that these people are not messing around. I think they may be serious about this. But he's come out and said that these threats over Ukraine using nuclear weapons in their territory and potentially even against NATO nations is not a bluff, is what he says. So we're going to be talking about this some more. I've got an article we're going to be going over. I've also got something to show you on X. So let's go ahead and get right into this. This is on Reuters. Russia's Medvedev says Moscow's nuclear threats over Ukraine are no bluff. Okay, this just came out yesterday. So it says here, senior Russian security official Dmitry Medvedev said on Friday that Russia was not bluffing when it spoke about the possibility of using tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine, and warned Moscow's conflict with the West could escalate into an all-out war. Medvedev, deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council and former Russian president, said Moscow's conflict with the West was developing according to the worst-case scenario, right there, and that nobody today can rule out the conflict's transition to its final stage. That's absolutely huge, guys. If you don't understand what that means, he's talking here about nuclear war, and he's saying the final stage where either the Russia engages with NATO, and by that I mean like a conventional war, boots on the ground. Let's say NATO starts entering into Ukraine and starts fighting against Russia, maybe even against Belarus as well, and this could lead to other countries getting involved in this also. China's already been coming out recently and saying they would stand with Russia if they came under attack. I'm sure North Korea would get involved, or maybe start rattling up tensions down there with South Korea, because they've been doing lots of provocative acts lately. And then we have Iran also that could get involved potentially. So this could definitely turn into a world war and spiral out of control very quickly, and that's what he's discussing here. Russia regards all long-range weapons used by Ukraine as already being directly controlled by servicemen from NATO countries. This is no military assistance. This is participation, in a war against us. So that's what he's saying. This is full-blown participation. This is NATO fighting Russia, not military assistance if they start striking inside of his territory. That's what he's saying. And such actions could well become a casus belli, an act that provokes a war. Medvedev, who has become one of the Kremlin's most hardline hawks, was commenting after 4 U.S. officials told Reuters on Thursday that the U.S. President Joe Biden had quietly authorized Kyiv to launch U.S.-supplied weapons at military targets inside Russia that are supporting an offensive against the northeastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. So that's what I talked about in today's video earlier about Belgorod. This was literally just about 48 hours ago, I want to say, when Joe Biden said, hey, it's okay for Ukraine to start striking targets inside Russian territory as long as it's in the Kharkiv region. And then it seems like not even 24 hours later, we start seeing HIMARS missiles flying over into Belgorod. But the whole thing with that is that it's not even being widely reported. There's no mainstream media talking about it, barely even discussing the fact that Belgorod came under attack. what mainstream media was talking about today in regards to yesterday's attack. Um, Actually, from both sides, from Russia and Ukraine, they were attacking each other at the same time. They were just talking about Russia striking all of Ukraine's power plants again. That's all they talked about. They didn't talk about Ukraine potentially launching dozens of HIMARS missiles into Belgrade yesterday, which we weren't able to completely confirm that. We don't really know what's going on, but it's definitely some craziness happening here, guys. Medvedev, whose statements diplomats say give a flavor of what senior people in the Kremlin are thinking, said it would be a fatal mistake on the part of the West to think that Russia was not ready to use tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine. He also spoke of the potential to strike unnamed hostile countries with strategic nuclear weapons. This is, alas, neither intimidation nor bluffing. So he's saying they're not bluffing and they're not trying to intimidate. He actually means business here. Now, let me comment something real quick, too, just on this whole Russia detonating a tactical nuke or whatever kind of a nuke in Ukraine, right? There's lots of talk about that right now from the Russian side. Now, Joe Biden, I believe, just sent a signal. This is my personal interpretation of this, but I believe he sent a signal over to Russia recently. Just the other day, there was like two B-52 bombers, I believe, that flew and encircled Kaliningrad. If you don't know where that's at, that's up near the Baltic states. I think it's near like Estonia, one of those Baltic states over there right next to them. And he had two B-52 bombers flying around and encircled Kaliningrad. And I believe that was a message, excuse me, to send to Vladimir Putin to let them know, don't even think about detonating any kind of a tactical nuke, because the United States already come out and said that they would smash all of their troops and everything inside of Ukraine, come to the aid of Ukraine and help them out if a tactical nuke is detonated inside of Ukraine coming from Russia. So I really believe, at least in my personal opinion, that was some kind of a message being sent about Kaliningrad, that they could easily just fly over there and completely destroy that section of Russia, which is Kaliningrad. The current military conflict with the West is developing according to the worst possible scenario. There is a constant escalation when it comes to the firepower of NATO weapons being used. Therefore, nobody today can rule out the conflict's transition to its final stage. So, definitely, I would say the firepower from NATO is increasing, okay? It is getting more and more heavily active, and they're bringing over the heavier guns. If you notice, as time goes on, F-16s are coming pretty soon. They just got longer range ATACMS inside of Ukraine. It's continuing to escalate, okay? Things are not going downhill in terms of escalation. They're going uphill. Like, if we were to look at a chart, I would say over the last, 3 months, the escalation with Ukraine has probably completely skyrocketed, okay? It's gotten really bad. And it's very dangerous, the position that we're in. And that's why I'm sharing this information with all of you today, to let you know that we are at a very major, important point in history, especially when it comes to this war and any wars in general, okay? I believe personally, my personal opinion, that we are the closest to nuclear war than we ever have been, probably in history. And this is between two major nuclear powers, okay? We're talking the United States and Russia. That's what this is mostly about. And, both these countries have more than enough nukes to completely obliterate the planet. And it's very dangerous if you think about it, okay? We will all be caught in the line of fire if this thing really does kick off and there's some sort of nuclear event that happens. So that's why I'm sharing this information. So finally, I want to show you one more thing. This is on X from Sputnik International, okay? This is a Russian news service. NATO countries will receive a devastating blow for their involvement in the Ukraine conflict, says Dmitry Medvedev. NATO military personnel operating long-range weapons in Ukraine is not military assistance in any way, but participation in the war against Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, said on social media. Such individual assistance by NATO countries against Russia is a serious escalation of the conflict. The former Ukraine and its NATO allies will receive a response of such destructive power that the alliance itself will simply not be able to resist getting involved in the conflict, the official stress. So that is just absolutely insane, guys, to think about that kind of a statement like that. I know, I understand, I hear some of you saying, yes, well, Dmitry Medvedev talks like this all the time. He is very hawkish. He speaks this way, and I totally get you. I hear you on that. But the danger here is, what if they really do mean business, okay? I understand there's been so many times where things don't happen whenever a lot of people are anticipating some sort of reaction and then nothing happens. I totally understand that. But what if that time comes where we really do have a reaction? And with these kinds of statements like this, that's a major reaction. We're not just talking, lobbing a few missiles or something into Ukraine. We're talking actual nuclear war. And many of these nukes are hundreds times stronger than the ones that were dropped in Japan during World War II. They're very devastating. So NATO will have to decide how to qualify the consequences of possible retaliatory strikes against its equipment and military personnel in the context of Articles 4 and 5 of the Washington Treaty, Medvedev added. So what he's saying here too is they'll have to decide, whether it'll be worth it enacting Article 4 or 5 of their the Washington Treaty in order to declare war on Russia or whatever it might be, because this is another big thing too, is that they're warning that they will attack any NATO equipment that is going to Ukraine, even if it's in other countries. They will attack other nations. It says right here, all Western military equipment and specialists fighting against Russia will be destroyed, not only in Ukraine, but also in other countries if they strike Russian territory from there. So just absolutely huge. They're even willing to strike another country. And many of the countries that are in that region over there are all NATO nations. So think about this. There's just so many scenarios here where we could literally see a NATO versus Russia conflict here, and potentially China could get involved. Like I said, so many other countries that are allies to Russia, and this could just get really nasty quick, and it's just extremely dangerous. And again, that's why I want to share this with you and let you know what's really being talked about here on the global stage, what these top players of these countries are doing, like Dmitry Medvedev, Vladimir Putin, and then obviously all the Western partners, okay, the way they act and the way they talk, like Emmanuel Macron. He's come out many times and said that they would send troops to Ukraine if the front line were to break. And then we also have the Baltic nations coming out and saying that now. Poland's coming out and saying that. So we are closer and closer every single day to a major conflict breaking out. And I know that things seem relatively calm right now, no matter where you're living. But what if we do wake up one day and it's the complete opposite? It could really happen. So that's why I want to share this with you and let you know what's happening over here. But yeah, that's going to be it, though. I'll let you guys get out of here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Appreciate you hanging out for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.